took a walk down memory lane, back to my childhood once again. I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
Just for a day. I remember a house in the hills of home, a front porch swing and a rolling lawn. I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
Just for a day. Our house was built on a wooden frame. I know tin roof, I still hear the rain. I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
Just for a day. I went to school in a two-room shack. A potbelly stove, that house was out back. I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
Just for a day. We went to church on Sunday morning. To get a seat, we had to leave early. I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
I'd like to go back there.
I'd like to go back.
Just for a day.
This is Rod, and you're tuned in to Down Memory Lane for the last week of February 1955. And it is during this week that the Whitesburg High School drama team will compete with 6 eastern Kentucky counties. The 6 Whitesburg actors and actresses will compete at the Pikeville Junior College. The drama class members are Stuart Barnett of Whitesburg, Gene Collier of Sargent, Ada Fields of Mayking, Roberta Jenkins of Partridge, Shirley Stallard of Ermine, and Carla Lou Webb of Sargent. A pie or box supper is held on Saturday of this week, beginning at 7 p.m. at the courthouse. The proceeds go to the Old Regular Baptist Orphanage at Van. 13 Letcher County residents are enrolled at Pikeville Junior College for the spring semester of 1955. Those include Norma Ann Addington of Cremona, Connie Mac Baker of Burdine, Lawrence Braddock of Jenkins, Joe Bukovich of Jenkins, Eleanor Ann Collier of Mayking, Kenneth B. Gooch of Neon, Amelia Ison of Whitesburg, Barbara Lowe Mullins of Neon, Margaret Pace of Mayking, Lovell Sparks of Mayking, Dale Walker of Jenkins, Frank T. Welch of Neon, and Ann E. Whitaker of Jenkins. It is during this last week of February 1955 that Mr. and Mrs. Archie Kraft hold a formal reopening and dedication to the Kraft Funeral Home. Mr. and Mrs. Kraft have completed the remodeling of the funeral home, bringing it up to a standard of excellence. Saturday of this week was the first day of reopening and a steady flow of visitors by Mr. and Mrs. Kraft and their personnel. Floral arrangements were donated by business firms and friends. Soft music was provided on the organ by Mrs. Albert Jones. Approximately 900 guests have come by at the newly remodeled funeral home this week. The sale of Series E and H savings bonds in Letcher County during January amounts to $23,393. The county's goal for 1955 is $239,000. Congratulations to Patsy Back, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Back of Blackie. Patsy has been named to the Dean's List at Montreat College for the first semester. At Tepper's department store in Whitesburg this week, you can find ladies' spring suits, rayons, and gabardines, $5.95, originally selling for $10.99. Ladies' spring and Easter suits, sizes 9 through 18, $7.95, originally sold for $15.95. Ladies' suits were $17.95, are now $8.95. Girls' spring suits are now $4.98. Boys' suits, $2.98. That's at Tepper's department store in Whitesburg this week. From the Neon area this week, we find that Tom Curry is now home and much improved. Dr. Davy Bentley is in Lexington. Mr. and Mrs. Fred Hall have moved to Michigan. Mr. and Mrs. Curtis Collins have as dinner guests this week Mr. and Mrs. Sam Quillen and family. Mr. and Mrs. Charles Perry have returned home from Detroit. And Rose Blackburn and Helen Yachts visit their children in the Stuart Robinson School. And this is down memory lane for the last week of February 1955.
It's her first night on the town since she was just 18. A lady down on love and out of hopes and dreams. The ties that once bound her now are broke away. She's like a baby just learning how to play. She never thought that love would ever end so soon. Her mind drifts back in time to a midsummer moon, when he asked her to marry and she gladly said okay. Then a woman came to be from the girl of yesterday. Now she's a lady down on love. She needs somebody to gently pick her up. She's got her freedom, but she'd rather be bound to a man who would love her, never let her down. Well, I know the lady that's down on her love, 'cause I used to hold her and have that special touch. But work took me away from home late at night, and I wasn't there when she turned out the light. Then both of us got lonely, and I gave in to lust, and she just couldn't live with a man she couldn't trust. And now she's a lady down on love. She needs somebody to gently pick her up. She she'd rather be bound to a man who would love her, never let her down. And now she's a lady down on love.
This is Rod, and you're tuned in to Down Memory Lane, your Letcher County memories for the last week of February of 1955. And hey, folks, are you staying in touch with your family? Well, now you can, and it's simple. The telephone is growing in popularity, and more folks in Letcher County has hooked up to the Southern Bell telephone for just a small monthly rate, and long distance rates are small also. You can call from Letcher County to anywhere. You can call from Letcher County to anywhere in the U.S., station to station, anytime after 6 p.m. weekdays or all day on Sunday at much cheaper rates plus federal excise tax. A 3-minute call from Whitesburg to, say, Lake Placid, $1.10. A 3-minute call from Whitesburg to New York City will cost you only $1. A 3-minute call to Sun Valley, California is $1.75. And a 3-minute call to Chicago is only 85 cents. So get your Southern Bell telephone installed soon and stay in touch. In the classifieds this past week of February 1955, we find for sale a tract of land on Cherokee Lake priced at $400 and will take a small down payment and monthly payment. A one-room house with bath, basement, furnace, 2 concrete porches and built-in kitchen, and a large garden located 1 mile from Whitesburg on Road 588 toward Coulson. We also have for sale or rent a 2-bedroom home at Letcher Heights. Congratulations to Miss Eleanor Newman of Jenkins. She has been selected as a candidate for the Mardi Gras Queen at the University of Kentucky. Eleanor is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. James C. Wilson. Out and about on the streets of Whitesburg during this 4th week of February of 1955, we found William Lee Craft, Clyde Hall, Henry Tolliver, Howard Adams, Jimmy Abels, W.B. Sanders, Mrs. Windus Williams, Charles Bentley, Hillard Kinser, Claude Creech, Lloyd Meade, Raymond Wharf, Morgan Craft, Roberta Holcomb, Earl Ambergy, Russell Polly, Arthur Sargent, Buster Kelly, Raymond Smith, Dave Kraft, Vivian Hayes, Clell Rogers, Mr. and Mrs. Vernon Hensley, Andrea Pigman, Ann Dugan, Ella G. Adams, Mr. and Mrs. Don English, and Mr. and Mrs. L.P. Maggard, and many more. That's all out and about in the Whitesburg area this past week. Down memory lane wishes to send out a great big hello to Private Howard Branson at Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Private Branson is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Orville Branson of Ermine. From the Blackie area this week, we find that Doris Walters and family have moved to the head of Elk Creek. Mr. and Mrs. Bud Collins have been visiting in Lincoln County. Aunt Vanna Hampton is on the sick list. Rich Caudle of Doty receives a visit from his nephew, James Back. Okay, from Mac Roberts PTA, we find that they held their monthly meeting this week, and the PTA president is Mrs. Geneva Dan. Attending among others were Carl Mercer, Tom Scott, and Reverend Ingram. Mr. Nelson Webb's 8th grade class won the banner for having the most parents present. And down memory lane wishes to send out a great big hello to some of their Mac Roberts friends, including Mrs. Warney Flint, Reverend James Casey, Mrs. Tom Scott and sons Donald and Clyde. And hello to Bobby Sparks, who has just returned home after spending 4 years in the Navy. Bobby is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Rupert Sparks.
I couldn't refuse that wanting me look in your eyes. For a moment I thought you had me hypnotized. How could I be so foolish for you when she is still in my mind? This may be wrong, but I'm taking a chance this time. What am I doing wrong tonight? I'm facing a feeling I'm gonna lose the fight. I know it's not right. She's been the one that has stood by me with never a doubt in her mind. So what am I doing wrong tonight? I should have been listening to what my heart was saying. Like a puppet on a string, I lost control. Didn't know where to draw the line as the fire began to grow. Now the smoke has cleared and my conscience are letting me know. What am I doing wrong tonight? I'm facing a feeling I'm gonna lose the fight. I know it's not right. She's been the one that has stood by me with never a doubt in her mind. So what am I doing wrong tonight? What am I doing wrong tonight? Oh, she's been the one that has stood by me with never a doubt in her mind. So what am I doing wrong tonight?
You're tuned in to Down Memory Lane, the Letcher County Memories program, and we're looking back at the last week of February of 1955. And it is during this week of 1955, in February, that we send out a great big Down Memory Lane happy birthday wish, and it goes out to Mrs. Willie C. Adams of the Royal Branch area of Letcher County. And a great big hello to Mr. and Mrs. Ellis Bowman, Mr. W.B. Hunsucker, Mr. S.E. Cole, Mr. and Mrs. C.W. Kraft, Mrs. Walter King Jr., Mr. and Mrs. Bill Webb, and Miss Walla Jean King, all from the Sturgeon and Thornton area of Letcher County. A style show is being sponsored by the Whitesburg Lions Club to be held on March 7th. See the latest fashions to be sold in Whitesburg's smartest shops, including Dawhurst, The Vogue, and Crafts Department Store. The spring and summer fashions will be worn by local models. The evening will be narrated by Patsy Ann Fields with piano music by Mrs. Albert Jones. The style show will be held at the Whitesburg School Auditorium Monday, March 7th, 1955. Admission price is 50 cents for the public and 25 cents for students. Down memory lane, which is sending a great big hello to Neil Wormsley, Leon Sargent, Philip Mullins, Harry Johnson, Lawrence Cole, Jim Abels, Gary Yantz, Ray Murphy, J.W. Vanover, D.C. James, and the entire Fleming Neon High School basketball team. And happy birthday this week to Ms. Delana Renee Price, who celebrates her 12th birthday on Friday night of this past week. And among the guests present to help her celebrate are Mary Lynn Gentry, Frida Moore, Mary Ann and Barbara Jean Hall, Betty Holbrook, Betty Caudle, Fern Fulton, Donald Blair, Doug Webb, Berkey Fields, Billy Hall, Gordon Lewis Jr., Martin Lewis, John W. Combs, Joe Clay, David Combs, Owen Wainwright, and Tommy Stansberry. Also celebrating birthdays this week is David Logan Kraft, age 10, and Barbara Polotsky, age 5. I'm Rod, and you've been listening to Down Memory Lane for the last week of February 1955. And information in today's program has been provided through the courtesy of the Letcher County Mountain Eagle for this week of February 1955. And the music provided for today has been done by Drake Brock and Tommy Will. Join us again next time when we will take another walk down memory lane.
Tonight, as I sit here in this barroom, I wonder how long it'll take to get you off of my mind. If only there was a way I could forget you, and then maybe I could put down the wine. But it's a lost cause, looks like I'm